Now, as far as replacing this rail here, I mean the stile here, we've got a nail. You can barely see where it's going in there. We got to go in there and dig that nail out, pull it out, which means we're going to have to cut part of this check rail out of the way so we can get to it. So we need to get that out of there. There we go. Alrighty. We got that cotton picker out of there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we got it out. See, you can see the double tongue and groove. We do have to do these. All right, let's make our. Oh, and here's the groove for your mullion right there. See that little groove? But we're not going to do that either. Okay, we're going to make our stile and rail. All right, we've got our lumber. Now what we're going to do, we're going to set up our router. If you want to buy an exact sash bitch, I mean, you're going to pay a premium for it. But these you can pick up fairly reasonable. And you will have to do some planing on them to get them down to the right size, but I'm going to show you that as we move along. All right, let's run this. Let's run our 2x4. It looks like it's what we want. It's a little, just a hair bit deeper, but that gives us a little room for sanding. So. And then the only thing, now we just need to, on the back side now we need to cut in our glazing rail. So we need to work to this fillet so that we have this thickness from the start of the glazing rail to the top of your lumber. Okay, now what we need is to cut down from the top, down to where our glass rail starts, which in this case is 7/8 of an inch. So we're going to do 7/8 of an inch cut the line, because I always like to have a little extra room there. Okay, and then the same thing with the depth. We want to make sure we get the right depth, so that when we come in and get our last cut, this is all done. It's real easier to do it now than it is to try to come back and redo something after it's already all been cut. From the top down to where our cut is, just measured it, 7/8 of an inch. Let's see if I can show this to you. Where's my tape? There we go. Okay, so we're 7/8 of an inch, and we did cut the line. Okay, now we're going to come in. Whoops. Yeah, I cut it 13/16, so I definitely cut too much of the line. But in any case, okay, now we're going to come in from the bottom, which is this way. Now we're going to come in from the bottom so we can cut our fillet out. So then we'll have our glazing rail. And I believe it's either 3/16 or 1/4. Alright, we're going to see what we got here. Yeah, we're pretty much right on the money. See, we've got our top fillet, we've got a good profile, and we've got just a little bit more glazing rail here. Now this part here, if you have a planer, when we get totally done, you can run this through the planer and knock that off. If not, you'll have to do it with a table saw, which, that's fine. I mean, That's the back side is going to get sanded anyway, along with everything else. And then the same thing with this. See, this is a little bit higher than the original. Well, that's what I was saying. Unless you want to go spend the extra money on a regular sash bit, they're a lot more expensive. In this case, all you got to do is just either plane or just cut that little, I'm going to call it a heavy 1/8, maybe almost a 3/16. You just cut that back, and then you're down to this profile right there. Because like I said, this is a repair. All right, now we've got enough of this stuff to where we can do our stile and rail. And we even have a little extra in case we make a mistake. And I do make mistakes a lot too. Okay, let's work the one side in on our window. The way we get our length on our bottom profile is come to the top, and in between where that joins the stile and this joins the stile, we want to cut that exact amount, which is 21, and I'm going to call it 9/16. So it's got to be cut exactly 21 and 9/16. Okay, we've got our bottom rail cut. Now what we've got to do, we've got to come in and cut the 2 tongues off of these 2 mullions. We do that with a coping saw, and then we'll be ready to size this one up. Okay, this is something you've got to look out for, because the inside of where your mill part goes and your glazing rail, the glazing rail is a little higher as we've got this thing stood up on end. So we got to keep that height. So we cut down this way first, and then we come in from your mill side and finish cutting that. So you want to cut down to where your original mark is. Now we come in from this way and finish cutting it. So really what we're doing, we're just cutting out that area right there, because that's the tongue of this mullion. So that's what we've done right here. Because see, now your piece, if I can get it in there, there we go. See, now your piece is going to fit down in there. I can't see anything from here, but in any case we may have to do a little finagling here and there, but anyway, you see where I'm going. So your glazing rail part is always stuck up a little bit. Let me lay this on there. We're going across. Okay, now you see why we have to cut this little bit of fillet off, because see, we've got that little space there. We need to get this space closed down to the top of this mullion. So now we're going to go over there and take a little bit of this fillet off of there.